Killing Eve is a British spy thriller series based on a series of books, and to me, one of the best book adaptations ever made. If you haven't seen it yet, I suggest that you do, and if you have, make sure that you keep up with all the 3 seasons before watching this video. There's a few spoilers ahead. I've been obsessed with it for a while, and I decided to do this video to share my thoughts on one of my favorite characters of all time. Villanelle is a Russian assassin working for a criminal organization, and she is known on the series as a violent psychopath. Well, I guess she might be violent, but I don't think she's a psychopath, and I will tell you why. First of all, we need to understand what is a psychopath. By the series' own definition, a psychopath is someone who likes anything that makes us human. In general, they look normal. They don't necessarily have to be violent murders, and that's a common misconception. They are simply people that show a lack of empathy, lack of guilt, and have shallow emotions, and usually they are born that way. So my question is, does she really qualify? On the first season, we see this side of her that is probably something that she projects to hide how she really feels. She's carefree and unapologetic, a little mean and vindictive. She treats people like they're disposable. Classic psychopath. But as we start spending more time with her and see her around people, we start seeing a different side of her. For example, with Constantine. Constantine is her handler. He passes on the jobs for her, but he also takes care of her. They have a father-daughter relationship. They have a certain violence to it, but they really do have a bond, and psychopaths are unable to form bonds. Okay, so now let's analyze her relationship with Eve. Eve is an MI6 agent who is assigned Villanelle's case, mostly for her obsession for female assassins. After many violent encounters throughout the first season, they finally sit down and have this very honest conversation. And I mean, very honest.
I masturbate about you a lot. Okay, that's too much?
Anyways, so the conversation starts with Eve confessing to Villanelle that she's obsessed. She tells her that she thinks about her all the time, what she's doing, who she's doing it with, and it makes sense. She's an agent trying to catch a killer. But then Villanelle kind of twists the scenario by asking,
So you trash my apartment because you like me so much?
I know it's not conventional.
So basically, Eve just confirms that she actually likes Villanelle in some way, and that is an unconventional relationship. Then Eve stabs her, she feels very much betrayed. But later on, she tells this kid at the hospital that Eve stabbed her because she likes her. So maybe that's the only way she knows love, when it's violent. On season 2, Eve has a very interesting conversation with a psychopath expert.
Are you two in a relationship?
Define relationship.
Are you having sex?
No.
But really, they are in some sort of relationship. It's just not a conventional one. And Eve is kind of contradicting herself here because in this conversation with Hugo, she says that not everything is about sex. But then a few episodes later, they have this scene that I really don't need to describe, so maybe their relationship is a lot more than what Eve wants to say aloud or even admit to herself. We can also say that Villanelle has an irrational fixation on Eve, but in many situations, Eve is the one who's initiating things. She is the one who breaks into Villanelle's apartment and lays on her bed. She is the one who initiates their kiss. And there is also this sequence where Eve finds a teddy bear in her bed with a recording of Villanelle's voice. At first, Eve freaks out about it, but then she seems to like it. We can say that she's seeking comfort on something familiar after her life fell apart, but her life fell apart because of Villanelle. It is also known that psychopaths cannot have emotional responses to things. But throughout this series, we can see her having emotional responses in many situations, like in this sequence in Amsterdam. Villanelle is really heartbroken because she wanted Eve to show up and she didn't. So she goes to a club, takes a bunch of pills, and almost kills a girl. The next day, she stares at her reflection on the mirror and falls apart. As far as I've known, psychopaths only try to mimic regular people behavior or to manipulate. But sometimes I think Villanelle actually mimics cold behavior to cover up how she really feels. Psychopaths are also compulsive liars, but that's not Villanelle's case. You would call her a liar because she often disguises herself, lies about who she is and where she's been, but that's just part of her job. It's not really pathological. She doesn't like the basic human characteristics. She craves for human touch. She admits to Eve that she just wants someone to watch movies with.
Someone to watch movies with.
When she thinks that Eve is her next job, she grieves. And she asks for this hotel employee to comfort her. A cold, merciless person would just do the job and move on. When she starts to work undercover for MI6 in season 2, Villanelle tells Eve,
I feel things when I'm with you.
which can sound really manipulative and fake, but I think she was telling the truth. She was in a really bad shape during the first half of this season, until they started working together. Then she looks happy and gets back her sarcastic charm that we see on the first season. Some other things, especially her childlike innocence, may suggest something else. Maybe the fact that she was denied of a normal childhood and had a very rough upbringing twisted her ideas of morality. When Dasha, the woman who trained her, describes her to Eve, she says,
I broke her back. I give her wings. She's perfect killing machine. That's all she's there for. That's all she knows.
so maybe Villanelle kills people because she really doesn't know a different reality. And everyone on the series seems to be a little morally ambiguous. There's even a suggestion that the criminal organization that they're after and the MI6 are maybe run by the same people.
I think if you went high enough, you'd probably find we work for the same people.
One of the best evidences to illustrate my point is this encounter with this guy called Aaron Peel in season 2. He is definitely a psychopath, and the two of them don't seem to have anything in common. Except maybe for their disregard for the human life, but in her case, she acquired that throughout her experiences, but him, he was probably born like that. Villanelle is, at best, driven and single-minded. She kills to get the job done, to get people out of her way to get the job done, or when people are between her and Eve. In season 3, she decides to find her family, so she goes to her hometown and sees her mother. She's probably just looking for closure or a peace of mind. She doesn't find it, so she handles it Villanelle style, by burning the house down with her mother inside. But she spares her brothers, who she got very close to. When she leaves, we see her in the train with this expression on her face. She is showing great pain and trying her best to fight her tears. The next episode, she cries again. The next one, more tears. From the half of the second season on, it seems like she's reaching a breaking point. That's a whole lot of crying for someone without emotions. Overall, we can see great development from the first season to the third. A lot of personal growth and especially change.
I can change.
Psychopaths cannot change. They cannot be cured. Villanelle doesn't want to kill anymore. She sees no point in doing so. After watching the last episode of season 3, I can't really say where the story is going. But I am very happy to see these two finally at peace. That's it. Thank you for watching.